it was really a cool moment. But the bay door opens, and so bright out in Vegas, a silhouette's now walking through this bay door, and it's Mike Tyson's silhouette. And I'm telling you this right now, like Tiger has it, Mike has it, Tom Brady has it, Serena has it. Like it is a silhouette that we all know. And here comes Mike Tyson.
Yeah.
And at that moment, we were like, oh, like you could feel this moment of like, all right, now let's get into what we do in our craft, right?
Yeah. All right, guys, welcome to another episode of The Report. Today, we are out here in San Diego in the studio, and we got some sunshine outside, but I'm very excited because we got two special guests today wearing black on black who made the drive down from Orange County. They work on the BYLT team. They're the big dogs. I got my man, Joe Trachta and Jared Koenig. Welcome to the show, boys.
Hey, what's up?
Thanks for
having us. This is cool.
Yeah, appreciate you guys making the drive down. Big fan of everything you guys are doing. Fun fact, one of my team members, Alex Johnson, had already met you guys back in Miami a few months back, and so they're a little reunited here in the office.
Yeah, it was actually kind of cool to, have that moment and find a friend. There was a friend in her group that we used to work together back in the day, and it was like random. We were in this place together. It was like, it just happened. We were all just kind of hanging out, so we all just took the night, just kept figuring out Miami at that point. It was cool.
Yeah, Miami is a fun city. I would say like San Diego, Miami, New York. Those are like my favorite three cities in the U.S. I feel like if I wasn't in San Diego, I could see myself living out there in Miami.
Yeah, the Miami vibe is definitely like, I've always fallen in love with just the water there in general. Just to be able to go out and sit in that water. The Pacific Ocean just seems so violent every once in a while. So it's kind of nice to just kind of chill out there, and just the culture down there in Miami is always fun to just get a little outside the comfort zone. It's fun.
The food scene out there is good. The water scene's great out there, and there's a reason a lot of people are moving out there. The taxes is good out there too. No income tax, which is big. But I know I love San Diego too, man. West Coast thing. I'm something about it.
Yeah, we were just having that conversation driving down here. Like, what makes San Diego? Jared was like, God, I love San Diego. 'Cause we get stuck up in Orange County a lot, but like, what is it for you? Like, what makes the San Diego experience so enjoyable?
So, out of the four major markets in California, you got the Bay Area, Los Angeles, Orange County, and San Diego. I actually grew up in San Clemente, which is like South Orange County. So I've seen that perspective. But for me, I think San Diego by far has the best beaches, the best people, the friendliest vibe, and the best weather, you could argue.
Yeah.
But it's also the most affordable, out of the four major markets. And so, I don't know, something about San Diego, there's not a lot of traffic. And so you can drive from any corner of the city to the other corner in like literally 20, 25 minutes. And there's so many cool little pocket neighborhoods out here like Pacific Beach, La Jolla, Del Mar, Mission Valley, North Park, South Park, Coronado, downtown, Little Italy, which is where we are. And each neighborhood is like unique, has its own vibe. And like, I just think it just makes it special. And there's so much waterfront too. Like the San Diego Bay here is so cool. And I don't know, I'm just a big fan, man.
And I love the fact that stadium sits right in the middle of that stadium. Or the stadium sits right in the middle of the city, for the Padres.
If you guys ever come down, man, let me know. I got season tickets, and I've been to like 5 games all year.
I love
baseball. If you guys ever are down, you love baseball?
Oh, yeah. I'm from Baltimore, so I'm a big Orioles fan. It's been fun the last few years, absolutely.
Well, if you ever want seats, man, just hit me up and
love that.
they're yours, too.
I'm taking you up on that one. That'll be fun. Absolutely.
And you guys are rocking black on black on brands.
Always easy.
The team's always rocking black on black, always easy to go. I had David August on the podcast not too long ago. David's a friend of mine, but he's probably one of the world's most famous fashion designers, fashion tailors. He suits up all the celebrities, Brad Pitt. He's got a company with Conor McGregor. But anyway, so he was on the show, and he was saying black on black is a West Coast thing. And he said East Coast is more like navies and blue, or navies and grays in terms of like dress shirts and that sort of thing. But he said the black on black is just like, it's easy, goes with anything. You can wear it out to a nice dinner, or you can just wear it out every day. And so he's a fan of the black on black.
I grew up Italian, so there was a lot of black and chains hanging out in the Italian household. So
got it.
It's always just kind of been my go-to, easy kind of selecting kind of colorway.
David's up in Newport. So,
connect
good person
us.
to know. I
Absolutely.
would love to connect you guys. I didn't even think about that potential connection until just now. It's funny how I met David. So I was like out in the Greek islands, like literally 2 years ago, and I was traveling. And I'm a sailor. I'm a big boater. I'm into sailing, and so I follow some sailing pages. And I was following this guy who like basically retired. His wife left him, and he went through a divorce, lost like a lot of the money that he had, and he's like, you know what? I'm just gonna retire. I'm gonna buy a sailboat and just cruise around the world. So this guy had been cruising around the world for like 3 years. And I noticed on Instagram, he was like down in the Greek islands and I was in Mykonos at the time. So I just DM'd him and the dude was like, hey man, I'm sailing across all the Greek islands eastbound down to Turkey. Do you want to join me? And I was like, yeah, I'd love to. So this dude like freaking picks me up in Mykonos. I get on this guy's boat and we just like ripped it all through the Greek islands on his sailboat. It was one of the most epic adventures I've ever had, but it turns out his brother is David August.
Wow.
And that's how we met.
Isn't that wild? Like how you can just, we talk about this all the time. Like just sometimes you just show up and just see where it goes. You just never know who you're going to meet and where this new adventure takes you. Right. So like just recently we were in Vegas and had an opportunity to meet this. It was like, I think it was like more of like a retail kind of convention down there. And we were down there with just recently being a part of Mike Tyson's team. And we were in near the pool area at this cabana. Jared was like, we just got to go in. There's a couple guys we just got to meet. We were both at the moment like, what is this going to be? He's like, we just got to go start shaking some hands. There's a couple people in the real estate area. Next thing you know, I'm on a FaceTime call with Jeff Hamilton, the jacket designer. And it was like, these are types of moments where you just have no idea. Like you just kind of show up. You just kind of see where it goes. You know what I mean? So
yeah, no, absolutely. You never know who you're going to meet.
Yeah.
And I always say, like, as a real estate investor, if you're not buying the kind of deals you want to be buying, or as an entrepreneur, if you're not making the kind of money you want to be making, it's like, it's simply because you're not shaking enough hands, you know? And I feel like this podcast has been a huge door in terms of like connecting with high caliber people. And I've made a lot of connections through this podcast that I normally wouldn't have had without it. I mean, you guys are one of them, you know?
You're recently following you a lot more on Instagram, and you do this little meetup program. You mentioned it just earlier before. Like what's going on there? Like what's the details into that?
Yeah, so we host San Diego's largest real estate meetup monthly, and we've been doing it for 5 years now. And it's free. There's no pitching. We don't have speakers come out. It's literally just pure networking, and we do it right here in downtown San Diego on a rooftop, 35th floor, and it's got a great indoor-outdoor space, but great views of the bay. And we get 250 people come out every month, and it's just solid networking and just great people. People are like meeting each other, doing deals and doing business together, and just like it's really cool to see. That's
all. I mean, sorry, I felt
it's part of the community aspect. It's just the community, and like we don't make anything for the meetups. Like we don't have any agendas, but it's just cool to like see people in our community getting together. And we have people fly down from, like, we host yacht meetups too, like in during the summer months. That's the last one we hosted. We had 3 folks fly out from Texas. We had folks fly out from Seattle and even Arizona that just like listen to the podcast and they like, hey, we heard about the meetup, want to come and connect and that sort of thing. So it's really cool to see.
That's awesome. Every season when we launch product, we always just the way that you just talked about these people that show up and meet up and just kind of let's see where this thing goes. Who knows? Meet people in the industry. Every time we start a season, we're always going, okay. It's always, let's always remember who we are as a brand, and then we dive into what we're then going to launch for the season. One of the main things we always talk about is this like mindset and this motivated person that we always feel like we can go after with BYLT, which is always kind of why we're in this industry. It kind of goes back to how Eric started this whole thing. The moment you get a chance to meet Eric Meir, he really is one of the most unique people that I've ever been able to meet. And it really, one of the biggest things he always talks about is like this mindset and this like motivation, like just show up, just kind of figure it out, and let's kind of see where this thing goes, right? So when you talk about that meetup, it really truly feels like there's probably a lot of BYLT type of consumer mindset people there, and that's what drives us to do this every single day in the apparel, to make sure these are people that we could probably consider to be motivated and busy and tied up. They got a lot on their plate, right? Not even a 9 to 5 person, but someone that's kind of always on, right? And kind of parlaying this into the product and how we think about BYLT is like, it's really truly, if we can get one less thing off of their plate and give them that confidence in the product that we build. Like, I know I don't want this to sound like a commercial or sign anything that we're trying to be gimmicky, but like, that's one thing that really helps us kind of like keep going. Like, you got a lot on your plate. You just talked about your day. You got a couple podcasts you're filming today. If we could take one less thing off your plate, and it's your gears, and have you show up confident in what you do, it's like, that's why we kind of like, we always continue to try to find these places where that BYLT consumer lives, and actually where how you just explained that whole meetup thing it's part of our DNA.
Yeah. And it's funny you mentioned this because, like, honestly, I was repping all your guys' gear before we even started like working together. And honestly, like so comfy, like everything is like so legit. And what you just mentioned, you know, David August also mentioned this, is like one of the things that takes away from your time every day as a guy or a gal waking up is like, what are you going to wear for the day? You know? And so I like Built because everything like just fits good. It's comfy, but you guys have something for like every occasion. Like I wear your workout gear to the gym. I don't need to overthink it. I got all different colors and that sort of thing. And then going out to nice dinners or like going to real estate meetups, networking events, even coming into the office, I rock a lot of the Built gear and it's just easy. I don't need to overthink it. One of the reasons I love wearing hats is because I don't have to think about doing my hair. It just saves me time to put the hat on and I rock.
Yeah,
And it's just comfy. So it's been cool to see.
that's cool.
Well, we do. I mean, a lot of whenever we're going into product, we're always like, I think what sets us apart from a lot of our competitors in the industry is we try and make sure any product that you're in, you could end up in a business meeting, right? You're always looking a little bit more professional and with that, just confident. So I think it's simplifying the decision. We're all in black. That's a pretty easy decision right there, not having to kind of figure out what color you're going to pair together. But in the end, that confidence kind of in every opportunity of very transitional wear. Our lifestyles are complicated these days. And, you know, my lifestyle is in the morning, kind of getting the kids ready, right into the business meetings. And after that, trying to get the kids to bed, right? And trying to have one outfit that I can kind of go through that whole day with and feel comfortable and confident.
Yeah. And you said it. I mean, first impressions, everything, whether you're going on a date or whether you're going to a business meeting, first impression is literally everything. So I'm a big believer in investing into yourself and your wardrobe, fitness, whatever it is. I mean, some people do cosmetic surgeries. I'm like, if that's going to make you more confident, like go do it. You know, like I had the founder of SD Botox on not too long ago. We're talking about Botox and people get lip fillers, all this stuff. But I'm like, and even like, you know, people that get veneers for their teeth, I'm like, if that's going to give you more confidence, like go do it, because confidence is a big thing and first impressions, everything. And it's going to lead to, you know, better relationships and making more money. And it all goes full circle.
There are two things on that. One, I wanted to say this earlier. Like, thank you so much for being able to be someone that we've started to see you wearing that hat. Like, there was a moment where we were like, oh, look at this, and we still get excited about seeing our product out, right? Eric Muir, same deal. He'll text us, be like, hey, just saw a guy in a drop shirt in Idaho, or drop cut in Idaho, or we were in Shanghai and on the elevator, the three of us were on an elevator, and a guy walked in downtown Shanghai in a drop cut Lux shirt. We were like, oh my gosh, there it is.
That's sick.
We were in like
just like randomly in Shanghai.
Yeah, it was just so cool. We still get really excited seeing product in the wild. You know what I mean?
I mean, that was a 2-week trip jammed into like 5 days.
Mhm.
Yeah.
We get to the hotel at like 2:00 in the morning, just exhausted after traveling. And we needed that moment. He walks into the elevator with us wearing a Built shirt.
Yeah.
Ended up being from South America, traveling to China, wearing our gear.
Did you guys say what's up?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
He was kind of confused about our excitement, right? Because
Yeah.
at that point, after all that travel, you don't even know if you're like speaking English properly, right? You know,
Mumble
you're
is
just
so exhausted.
So, but it gave us the energy
Yeah.
we needed to keep that going.
And we got excited when we saw you wearing it, and so thank you for so much. I feel like you've been such a big supporter of the brand. We really appreciate you, and we want to make sure this family connection continues to stay going.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it was like Tyler reached out from your guys' like Instagram, and he was like, "Hey, we see you rocking all of our Built gear all the time on the podcast and all that." And he was like, "Hey, I want to send you guys a care package." And so then you guys did, and then I actually met Tyler in person up in Newport Beach, like probably like early March. And that's the first time we met. We just met briefly, hung out for like an hour, and then we just did the Summers Capital Built collab, and we got all this new Summers Capital gear, which is really cool, hats and hoodies, women's like crop tops, and you know, we like giving that stuff to our investor community and all that, but it's cool. And then we did the brand deal, and yeah, it's cool to see and be a part of. I'm a big fan of everything you guys are doing, and it's funny. I literally tell everyone, I'm like all the time, they're like, oh, we see you rocking the Built. I'm like, literally, I wear everything, but like the underwear, I probably have 30 pairs of your guys' underwear. It is like the most comfortable.
It's good stuff. Yeah. Caroline our head of development is always on top of the underwear game, and she's always keeping us, you know, up to date on that. It's good product, really good product.
So anyways, that said, I'm curious, like, I don't know much about the history of Built. Like, how did this whole idea come to fruition early on?
Sure. Me? You?
Yeah, I can jump into that. Eric founded Built when he was in college. He was going to USC, and he was, always wore his black shirts. And naturally, I think he was challenged with like just that quality and consistency and cost for really what he wanted to be wearing. And from there, just started making his own shirts and was on the Meta platform from day one with a previous successful business that he had. And when he exited out of that business, really started focusing on BYLT and really started the business with the drop cut Luxe, drop cut signature, which was our original fabric, and underwear, and started pushing that out across.
Oh, the underwear was day one.
That was
I would
day
have never
one.
guessed that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And yeah, and that's kind of where it kicked off from. Really, all of it. I mean, he always talks about like all self-funded, really on his own credit card, and just buying as much as he could and fulfilling all of it, which is kind of stayed in the DNA of the business, where we continue to have everything in-house and managing it, and that control has really allowed us to kind of maneuver through any challenges that kind of come around. And so from there, it grew into, bottoms. The everyday pant's been very successful for us, and footwear, and now eyewear and headwear and accessories. And the goal is to really give the customer kind of any product they need through our lens, like what's the BYLT approach to product, and make sure that they don't need to go somewhere else, that we have kind of solutions for all the needs.
What year was this when BYLT was founded?
2016.
Wow, so it's
End of
relatively new
2016.
and recent.
Yeah.
It's impressive what you guys have grown in such a short period of time, and the apparel space is very, very competitive and challenging. So to see you guys grow at this level, and I see people, like you guys said, you were in Shanghai. I run into people all over that are rocking BYLT, especially down here in San Diego. And everyone I know that like gets in the game, they're, oh, I just got some BYLT stuff, because they always tell me, hey, I just got some BYLT gear, and they all love it. Like the feedback is great. I think it's just like perfect for just, I don't know, for me, I'm just like kind of a casual dude, but it still looks nice for any occasion, and it's just like super comfortable, and I believe in it. I really do. Yeah.
The other thing that like gets really exciting, like we're always kind of prepared for these moments. Before coming on this podcast, you're like, what if that question comes out, like what is BYLT, right? In addition to kind of how we got started, one of the other things to what's happening is like there's so much that goes into this brand, and I think the theme of everything right now is that like building apparel and building product it's fun. It really truly is a craft that years and years ago, like suit makers and tailors back in the day, like it was a beautiful craft in building product. And the way that we run day to day, and way that we have design reviews and how we have these fit sessions, like the fun and the beauty of like the craft is not lost in the building of BYLT. And I really think that's something that we take a lot of pride into, is that don't make it feel corporate. Don't make it feel like we're just pumping more product out. Like every detail that goes into our product, like we really truly, some of the biggest conversations, I wouldn't say arguments, but some of the biggest conversations we have is like, is it good enough? Is it BYLT approved kind of product that goes out there? And I think in addition to how it got started and how it's going, like Jared just rambled off, apparel, footwear, women's is eyewear. Like we're building in a full assortment to fulfill the needs of everything that you possibly could probably do in your lifestyle. And it's fun. It's a craft of really truly getting back to the beauty of building apparel. It's an artwork that sometimes you can get to some of these other brands that feel it's just like you're designing and pumping out product, and it's just go quick, right? We are quick, that's the types of things. And I know I'm kind of
money loves speed. You got to move quick.
Exactly. And I think now shifting over to speed, one of the things that Jared's been very successful with doing for our brand is, we're not a fast fashion brand, but what's really unique that's happening around the world right now is that, back in the day, like Shanghai, Tokyo, the Koreas, the Milans, they were building these new trends, and then they made it to LA a certain way or New York a certain way. A year or two later, it would get here. With social media and people being able to see what's happening overseas, like today, fashion's getting here quicker. Trends are getting here quicker. And the way that Jared's...
It's a unique blend of fast fashion and just your core line of how you used to make product, right? And so we've been working on what our formula is to really adjust to that need in the market and kind of keep it on brand at the same time, because they are pretty solid heated debates
Yeah.
that we do have.
Right. And with that, like, yeah, I mean, this is like the speed is so important, and it's just it's falling back in love with product. And I know we kind of have a couple topics open right now that we're talking about, but really truly getting back to like the craft and the art of building product is what makes going into work every single day fun.
But
Yeah.
I think it's also sometimes it's so challenging to really get that message of the craft behind it, right? Like, well, when we introduce a capsule or a collection of products,
What's a capsule?
a capsule is like, capsule and collection can get interchangeable, but it's like a shirt and a pant
Okay.
and a shoe or something like that. So you'll create an idea around.
It's like a whole fit you could buy.
Yeah. But I guess like in some form of it, of me explaining my day earlier, right? Like you could say, okay, here's what this individual's day is going to be. Do we have all the product to meet those needs? Right. And so it's like, all right, I'm going to Mammoth, right? And I'm going to be on the mountain. I'm going to be in a business meeting. I'm going to be out to dinner. And so you're creating like a collection or a capsule kind of around that idea, making sure that you can fit all the needs or fill all those needs. But in the end, especially on the social platforms, the simplicity really sells. And sometimes it's, nearly impossible to get that message through of really the creative side that
Yeah.
went into it.
Absolutely.
And collections that we talk about as well too. Like if you go to our website right now, we have a pretty good range of fabric collections, right? So Luxe is one. You'll see a Coastal is one that we have in the fall winter. So we'll launch this fabric in multiple different silhouettes, and that could be called like the Coastal collection. So you can go there and see this fabric that you have liked and you've worn before, and you'll see it in different silhouettes as well too.
So I like the Luxe. I usually do the Hemsley drop cuts. I have a ton of these, and I always do the Luxe typically. What's the biggest difference between the Luxe and the more standard one?
The Signature?
Yeah, the Signature.
The blend of poly and cottons.
Okay.
So you'll see more of the Luxe. It will be a little bit more of a structured cotton.
Okay.
And the Signature will be a little bit more. We don't want to lean into like performance, but it definitely has a little bit. It's more poly based, so it'll breathe a little bit better. Maybe
It'll
whip
breathe
a little
better,
bit better.
okay.
Yeah.
It'll dry a little quicker. So that I would say Signature really is good for that. I don't know, Sunday morning activities in some form, right? Where you
so if you're gonna go like maybe even like break a sweat a little bit, go for a hike, you would say that the Signature is better than the Luxe?
Yeah, the cotton's going to hold
Okay.
kind of the sweat a little bit more than
Gotcha.
the poly forward. And so the Signature side of it has a little bit more performance aspects to it.
Interesting.
A little bit more comfort.
See, I would have thought otherwise, because I always felt like the Luxe was a little bit closer material than to like a fitness shirt almost. It's not the case though, huh?
It does have the hand of that
Okay.
in some form. It is, when you do feel the fabrics, you actually think that it would probably be a little bit more poly forward
Got
on
it.
the Luxe, but it's not.
It's not actually.
And
okay.
yeah, the Luxe is just really where we've won with Luxe is that structure in the fabric, right? And with that structure, getting older, having kids really helps hide that dad bod.
Yeah.
Which is always, any support there is greatly appreciated. So
Well, and that's the thing with your guys' like shirts is like they are tight in the right places and loose in the right places. And so like as a guy, like that's important, so you just look better in these shirts than you do with 99% of the other shirts out there. So that's important too, and so that's why once you start, you're like, oh, like I can never go wear a normal shirt again.
Yeah.
Well, we obsess over fit. I mean, we have a fit area that we hold all of our samples. We actually call it the red card room because naturally you're always commenting on other people's bodies, and well, that can cross the line really quickly. And especially when you're trying on all the different types of apparel that we offer. But when you get into the different fabrics and you have different levels of drape, right, and how that changes the specs and the POMs, the points of measure on the garment, and especially the difference between just receiving a sample from a sample line from the factory versus bulk production when you're ordering tens of thousands of units, So, yeah, the fit is something that I think it's really become unique to BYLT of what we've been able to figure out. And we see our customers really enjoying sticking with certain fits as well.
The other thing that's big, wearing just different apparels out there is a lot of like typical t-shirts or just shirts will, if you wear them a handful of time and then maybe even wash it, like it loses its shape. It doesn't fit the same what it did when it was brand new. But I feel like with all your apparel, it fits the same way the 10th time I wear it versus the first time, which I like.
I think that's something we're very proud of as well. Yeah.
It's always good to hear these things,
Yeah,
right? Because those are things that that's what we're trying to accomplish. I mean, the goal really is with everything with BYLT is like, you wake up, you can throw it on and you're confident in it, like wrinkle free, right? And pre-shrunk and kind of meeting all the different needs. So
totally. So I'm curious, and I'll switch gears here a little bit. You guys were mostly online or 100% online. And then recently you guys are making a big push to open retail locations. How many are you guys opening right now?
So we're on our 4th location right now.
Got it.
But a continued consistent growth strategy there. I think that it's really just been a direction of the business as a whole is diversification, and which, I mean, you're very familiar with the need for diversification with your background. And I think that's where we've seen success in a level of macroeconomic challenges that are going on right now, yet we've experienced continued growth in the business and healthy growth with that, scalable and sustainable growth. And that's coming through the diversification of the channels and how we can reach out to the customer. The customer, I think everybody in general has a different expectation of customer service, right? And the online experience is definitely a very approachable buying experience, but there's a level of customer that needs that in person, touching the fabrics, and a sales associate working with them.
Yeah, because I've always said this about retail, and retail is an interesting topic right now. We're seeing a lot of shopping malls close down in a lot of these major markets. However, I'm a believer that most of these major cities have 1 or 2 retail shopping malls that are gonna stick around. Like, for example, I'll go to Fashion Valley here in San Diego, and they have all the big brands there. The Louis Vuittons, the Gucci, the Prada. They have all those big shops in these particular malls. In a mall like Fashion Valley, you go there like any day of the week and it's busy. There's always a big influx of people. But a lot of these other smaller malls like in Mission Valley or here in downtown San Diego, Horton Plaza, like they're all shutting down, right? And so I'm a big believer if you get in the right ones, I think there's a play there and an opportunity. But I'm curious, like on your guys' end, what is the vision here for going retail? Is it to get more exposure, more eyeballs, or is it really an arm to where you feel like you can make some nice margins? Versus online where there's less overhead.
The theory in business in general is, at least my theory on it is, if you're not making money, you probably shouldn't be doing it, right? And so it's a channel that requires profitability. It's a channel that we evaluate on its own. And I think post-COVID, you've seen a consolidation within the retail business in general, where those smaller malls are being challenged right now, and you're seeing it really push to the bigger businesses or the bigger malls in themselves. And that's kind of been our strategy as well, is focus on, because I think there's 2 sides to it. There's a level of exposure and new customer acquisition, but also just kind of supporting the business diversification and getting those customers to show up. Something we always talk about is, really selling the customer on the full product offering and showing them the diversity of the product. When customers come in online, they tend to stick with specific categories that they were acquired with. Shirts, stick with shirts. Pants, they stick with pants. And within that retail experience, you really can see that they're shopping across the categories of the business. And better, I think, it's a little bit easier in person as well to explain the full story of BYLT in itself. And we always joke that if you give Joe the opportunity to walk through the verticals of the businesses or the business and what activities, one, he loves that opportunity, which has become an internal joke at this point, but it's eye-opening for a lot of people that really kind of go through that of what we're trying to accomplish, how we're supporting the customer as well.
Absolutely. So you mentioned you're opening one here in La Jolla, UTC.
Correct.
I know you guys got one in Fashion Island up in Newport Beach. Where are the other retail locations opening?
So we have, UTC, we're actually going to be opening that towards the end of August. I think August 24th is our hard opening.
Right around the
date on
corner.
that.
Yeah, I'll have to check it out.
In construction right now. We're going to go stop by that right after this,
Nice.
actually. And we have Fashion Island. We have one at our HQ. We're based in Irvine, and Scottsdale has been a great store
Love
for us.
Scottsdale.
And then really focusing on where we've seen the business be successful. And so Colorado, Chicago, we have 2 opening in Colorado, one in Denver, Boulder, and then Chicago is another area that we're working on. Florida as a whole, trying to really figure out our plan within that state, but looking at a couple of different locations currently. And then from there, just kind of continuing to focus on where the business has been successful, because we are spread across the U.S. Half our business is on the East Coast.
And you guys got some big name brand ambassadors, like you're working with Mike Tyson and Rob Gronkowski. How did those relationships with Tyson and Gronk come to fruition?
Eric Mir.
Yeah.
I mean, Eric's, when I said unique, there's a thing that happens with Eric where he has this thing. He always, if you asked Eric straight up, like, what is BYLT, he would say it's a mindset.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember the first time he said that to me, I was like, I don't know if I can get there. Maybe I don't understand what he's saying. And then 2 or 3 times you hang out with the guy, and it really truly is this thing. Like, if he can believe into something and he starts that river of like, where is this thing going? He's going to make this thing happen if he believes in it in some way. He's said things in front of us before where we were like, there's no way that this guy's going to pull this off. And it's done. It happens. And that's really, truly the Eric Mir effect.
I love
Well, you'll have a good debate with Eric. And
What's the debate on?
Any aspect of it, right? And of the business or what we're trying to accomplish or where we want to take it. And you'll get a call later of like, all right, I got it done. Right. And that's kind of how Gronk happened. And that's how Tyson happened as well, is that we were just having these top level conversations, and a week later, all of a sudden we're on the phone and it's like, okay, this is real. Like, it's time to see that through. And I think that mindset, the BYLT name, it's intended to be like a built mind, kind of always prepared for every opportunity. And that's what we try and live as well. Like, that was us showing up here today, which grateful to be here. And we were like, what are we getting into? But I don't know. And let's see where it goes. And something always comes out of these opportunities. And that's really what Eric lives and how he's driven this business. And been successful with it.
As a busy real estate investor or entrepreneur, time is money and first impression is everything. Every day, to make it easy on myself, I wear BYLT Basics clothing. Whether you're a girl or guy looking for workout gear, joggers, shirts, button-downs, hats, or shoes, BYLT's got you covered. Super comfortable, tight in all the right places to make you look fresh and clean all the time. Visit BYLTBasics.com and use promo code SUMMERS20 to receive 20% off of your order. Again, that's BYLTBasics.com. That's BYLT Basics.com. Use promo code SUMMERS20 to receive 20% off of your order. Now back to the show. And that's really like what entrepreneurship is really all about. They say a lot of companies that go out of business, like 90% of businesses go out of business at some point. They don't go out of business because they run out of money. They go out of business because the entrepreneur gives up. And it's so true with everything that we're doing, even on the real estate side. Like, none of these transactions, these deals go according to plan. And you just got to create stuff out of thin air. And that's what entrepreneurship is about, is hustling, grinding, figuring it out, making opportunities happen when there's nothing there. Doors will, if you keep grinding and hustling, there's always another level. There's always another gear, right? And these doors open up, and sometimes you got to like reinvent yourself in order to walk through these doors, right? So I'm sure, Eric didn't have, he wasn't the version of himself 5 years ago or 7 years ago when he started it to have these opportunities, but he's grown this, and you guys have grown this collectively as a team. And now you got folks like Tyson, you got folks like Gronk that want to work with you guys, which is telling to all the progress that you guys have built.
The Rob Gronkowski moment and Tyson moment were two similar at the same time, but very unique in their own ways. But Eric kind of came in and said, listen, I met with Rob. I really think this could be a connection for us as a brand. He's going to come in and let's just show him who we are. You never know. Like, I didn't know who was going to walk in. Like, again, Rob Gronkowski is, you see him on the commercials, you meet him in person. Like, he really truly is like a happy person. I think he really enjoys life. Like, he comes across as just very happy. And I think that it's so contagious when you're around him. But he was also that for the however long a football game, 60 minutes of a football game, he was probably one of the most feared football players of all time and how great he was, right? So there was this like, are we going to get, like, who are we getting? Are we getting Gronk the football player? Are we getting Gronk the person? And he came in that day and it was just one of the funniest, happy, excited person, walked through the warehouse, walked through our design area, and just, he was so excited to be in this situation with us. And the relationship with him just out of the gates was just as easy as can be. We sat down with him at a table and we went over all the ideas of product that we could start building with him and how we can kind of relate him to the brand or build product with him in the brand. And it's just been an amazing ride with Gronk at this point. We've had probably 2 or 3 really good commercials with him at this point. And I really truly feel like anytime that he shows up to the brand, it really feels like a friend again with Rob. And then the Tyson thing gets a little bit more unique. I think this is probably that time for a moment, and I think in Jared and I's careers and at BYLT, where it really started to feel another level of special. It really started with Eric and a connection in his world. And he came in one day and pulled Jared in the office and said, hey, listen, there's an opportunity. We want to talk with Mike Tyson leading up to this fight. This could be a really cool opportunity for the brand. Let's get a chance to meet them and the team. And maybe 1 or 2 Skype phone calls went back and forth. And then it was a Wednesday. We were all in the conference room. The Tyson team was all on the video call. Kiki Tyson, his wife, all of his staff, all of his creative team, they liked the product. They liked our story. And Kiki said to us, like, hey, this feels really special. Can you guys come out and show Mike? Like, is there an opportunity for you to come out here and just kind of introduce yourselves? Because Mike wants to understand you guys a little bit more as a brand. So that moment right there was like, oh, wow, this is really happening again. And that's that Eric Mir mindset moment, right? It's happening. So this was on a Wednesday. For Thursday and Friday, we did everything we possibly can to put what felt like 6 huge bags, check luggage bags filled with BYLT product that we felt was for Mike, and be able an opportunity to just kind of introduce him to the brand. We're going to fly out to Vegas on a Saturday morning and meet him. So we were like, it's go time. Who knows where this goes back to, the meetup and the show up and the mindset moment. Jared and I jumped on a flight. We missed the first flight. I remember that moment because we had so many bags. Now we're flying out to Vegas. We get to his training facility. He's got a beautiful training facility, and getting ready for the flight. Everything's Tysoned. His coaches are there. So this was like that first level of like, wow moment for us. Just being a fan.
And how long ago is this, for context? This is like a couple months before the Jake Paul fights.
This is probably maybe 2 months ago.
Okay, so this is very recent.
Very recent. And so now we're out in Vegas, and Jared and I were both like, all right, we're going to get there early. We're going to set up this product. We're going to hang a few things. We made him this really cool custom 1-of-1 varsity jacket. And we were like, all right, we're going to put that there. We're going to hang everything up. Mike should be here about 3:30. And the coaches were there. And that was a really cool moment. I have a brother-in-law that loves boxing. And when I was talking to him about this, he was like, oh my God, Coach Billy, Coach Raphael, like these guys are legends in the game. So like they're there, just normal conversation people. And that obviously, you see celebrity status, or you see these like people that are so good at their craft, and now you're in front of them. And it was so easy to be in front of these people. The Tyson program is their family. They call each other aunt, uncle, cousins, all that. So it's a really easy area of people to be around. So now we're in the gym. This is Tyson's gym. This is where he trains. Coach is there. And 3:30, like I said, Mike's coming in. So we're almost ready of product for him. And the way it's set up in the corner of this huge warehouse is a huge bay door. And all of a sudden the bay door opens and Coach is like, Mike's here. It's 2:30. And we weren't really ready for this, right?
You were thinking 3:30.
And I remember, Jared and I go way back. We've known each other for so long. I remember we looked at each other and we were like, okay, it's this is go time. Like this is the moment
You got
for
to make it
us,
happen.
right?
Yeah.
And it was really a cool moment. But the bay door opens, and so bright out in Vegas, a silhouette's now walking through this bay door, and it's Mike Tyson's silhouette. And I'm telling you this right now, like Tiger has it, Mike has it, Tom Brady has it, Serena has it. Like it is a silhouette that we all know. And here comes Mike Tyson, and he goes over to, at the time, we're like kind of getting ready for this moment. He goes over and he starts lifting this tire machine. Those tires people throw, but he's got a machine there. So he starts kind of work. He's just coming off a workout. So a little backstory on
He's
this
just coming
for a
off
second.
of a workout into another workout.
He's coming off a workout just to come meet us.
Okay.
They didn't think he was going to work out, but he starts working out, right? But a little backstory to this, the Tyson team basically has told us at this point, Mike could be there for 30 seconds, or he could be there and train. Like he's in train mode. And that's the other thing. When you work with pro athletes, or you work with these people that are in their craft, you cannot disrupt that, right? So we were like, we can't disrupt Mike's training. He's zoned in. This is his moment. And he walks over, does the tire machine, and then he kind of starts walking to us as gentle and as polite as can be. Right hand comes out, shakes my hand. I felt like I was squeezing a baseball mitt, how big his hands were, right? And now we're like shaking his hand, and his left hand just kind of taps me on the ribs. And dude, it is like pure power. And you're like, wow, this is Mike Tyson moment. But it wasn't overwhelming. It wasn't this celebrity level. It was just a person sitting in front of you. So he sits down in the ring, and he kind of looks up at us, very calm, very polite. And he's just kind of like, okay, guys, like, what is this about? Like, what are we doing with all this, right? And I remember looking at him and saying, look, if we can just know what your top and your bottom size are, top pant size, we can then start feeding you product, and we'll be out of your hair. And now there's 6 bags of product laid out about his training facility. And I could see him kind of like looking over our shoulder, like, what's all this stuff, right?
Yeah.
So now that the moment starts to happen, and we were like, all right, we got to give him our best. Like put the Lux top on him, put the everyday pant on him, and just have this moment. So Mike, mirrors all across the side and still pretty quiet to himself, puts their Lux top on, the everyday pant, walks over to the mirror, and just kind of like sizes himself up. And he turns to his wife, and he was like, man, this stuff is beautiful.
Yeah.
And at that moment we were like, oh, like you could feel this moment of like, all right, now let's get into what we do in our craft, right?
Yeah.
And we had him there for an hour and a half. He was trying product on. He couldn't have been nicer. Like he was just so into the product, set after set, kit after kit. Oh, I want to train in this. Oh, this is beautiful product. Like all of a sudden now he's excited about it. So I think we were telling you this a little bit earlier, but now this is Saturday afternoon, and Kiki looks over at us with Mike, and he says, what are you doing this week? And points to Jared and I, and we were like, what are you thinking? They were like, come to New York and Dallas with us. We have the press conference. We got a bunch of interviews we have to go on. Can you come and just style Mike for the week?
Damn, like that.
And we looked at each other like, okay, I guess we're going to New York for the week, and Dallas for the week. So now I have this opportunity. So we fly back to Southern California. It's Sunday afternoon. We're packing a bunch of stuff. We're getting stuff Tyson post-embellished, getting ready for this whole event.
Oh, you guys did some custom gear?
Custom gear.
Oh, yeah.
We worked with some of his sponsors that he needed on some of his press conferences. So we're working on Sunday to getting that done. We red-eye out to New York City. And then from Monday morning to that following weekend, I was with the Tyson team the entire time. And it really truly was this moment. And I don't want this to be a selfish moment. It really was a moment for the brand that was like every single person that works in that building was a part of this moment, because we've gotten this place. Eric got this brand to where it is. All the people that work on this product. Now we have this moment to travel over to one of Mike Tyson's biggest moments and gear him out.
That's
it was
so
awesome.
Badass, dude. I love that.
It was awesome.
Where are the conferences at? The pressers?
The first one was at the Harlem Theater up in the Bronx. So we're downtown at the financial district is where we stayed in the hotel, and then we went to the first press night with him meeting Jake or him kind of squaring off with Jake for the first time was at the Harlem Theater. So
Nice.
Not only are you hanging with Mike and going into this
Jake's
event,
there too.
Jake's there, but you're in the Harlem Theater. I mean, the history of this building is awesome, right? So then we had a couple other things that we had to do. He had a couple other interviews, Entertainment Tonight, those types of things. And then not only that, he's training throughout this product. So we're hitting him with our pulse tops and our everyday shorts, or not everyday shorts, our active shorts, and we customized some product for him at that point too. So he's going off and training while we're kind of waiting around for the next event, kind of deal. So it was really, really unique moment for us as a brand. And then off to Dallas we went. We did it again at like the Texas Live area down in Dallas. So, and that was a lot more hype. New York was a little bit more calm. It felt like a little bit more boxing reporters were there. And then you got to Dallas and it was just all like fan hype. Like then they started like chirping to each other a little bit. So it was like, uh-oh, this is getting a little bit more serious now. So, but again, yeah, that was a brand moment. It was a really, really unique moment. And I have, which I won't say too much in the podcast, but I have so many unique, cool stories that happened throughout the week that just got us connected as a brand and his brand. But in that is just people. Like I became friends with a lot of his team and his staff. Like we'll still text each other today. Like, hey, how's it going? How's New York? How's Cali? How's Florida? Where they're all across the country. But
it's crazy how you meet these guys. Like I was actually in Miami for a speaking engagement back in February of this year. And I'm actually upstairs after the event's kind of over. I had a table on this rooftop, and shout out to my buddy Jeff Bomarito. So Jeff's up there, and Jeff's like, hey, my buddy Ryan Garcia is going to come up and say what's up, and hang out with us for 10 minutes, and he wants to meet you. And literally 10 minutes later, 3 bodyguards come up, Ryan Garcia, a girl that he's with, they all come up, hang out on the table, we're hanging, and next thing you know, it's like last call. And Ryan, the girl he's with, the 3 bouncers, they all come back to my Airbnb in Brickell. We ended up ripping it all night. And this is like 6 weeks before his fight. And we're having a good old time and like having a great time. And then next thing you know, this guy goes and freaking fights Devin Haney 6 weeks ago and like just runs right through him. And I'm just like, fuck, you just never know who you're going to meet when you say yes to opportunities and you say yes to certain things and you put yourself in positions to attract these kind of people. And so next thing you know, it's like, man, I got a personal relationship with Ryan Garcia, all because I said yes to go to this speaking engagement out there. And you just never know what kind of opportunities will open for you. I'm curious though, with the Tyson fight, I know that was postponed. What was the reason for that happening?
I don't know. I think that's a lot of in his camp right now. I don't know what they've said too much, but I've kept my distance on just being respectful and making sure we're there for him as a brand. And
is there another date for that to happen?
I think it's November 15th. Yep. So they're ready to go again. Yeah. But
it's almost like good for you guys from a branding perspective. Yeah. Now it's like more hype and more build up.
Yep. But it's been a moment for the brand to say like, Mike Tyson is definitely he's a legendary figure in what his craft was and it still is. I mean, it's being around him and just seeing a quick training session, you realize that this is
what is that like watching him? What is that like watching him train?
It's a sound. Okay, all right. The biggest thing for us, so luckily in our careers, we've been able to be around NFL players, baseball players, golfers. There's always this one thing that we talk about. It's the sound that's a little bit different than a friend that you might golf with or whatever. So like in football, like when Brady throws the football, you almost hear like it come out of his hand. In baseball, when someone hits the bat to the ball or a catcher's catching a fastball, it's a sound that you'll just never hear unless you're in that elite level. In golf, I had an opportunity to work with John Rahm, the PGA golfer, and when he hits a golf ball, it's a sound that you'll never hear, right? So when Tyson hits the bag, it is a sound that I've never been around boxing enough, but to just know that it's a sound that you just don't, whether it's him exhaling as he hits plus the bag hit, it's a sound. It's a speed and it's a sound that's a little bit different. Dude. Yeah. But yeah, and selfishly, it's been just an absolute amazing moment to be in as well.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm curious, just about like the logistics. You guys got the headquarters up there in Irvine. Like how big is the BYLT team now these days in terms of like people on the team on payroll? How many employees work there?
Yeah, we've grown pretty quickly and it's been a wild experience. So we do everything in-house. with all of our fulfillment as well. When you look at full staff, we're over 100 now. Office specifically, in the 50s, kind of right hitting that 60 point. So
Are you guys all remote or in office most of the time, or is it a little bit of hybrid of both?
always a fun subject.
Yeah, right.
Um,
Post-COVID.
I mean, that's always it's a challenging uh as the crew continues to grow, right? And we call it the built family. We really try and um rep the lifestyle that we're selling as well. And it's with that growth, it's been challenging to have any level of remote work, and I know that that's been or hybrid schedule, and that is challenging in the current environment where that is offered in a lot of spots, but a lot of larger companies are returning to the office. And so it's right now we've kind of been working around certain individual schedules that might have like a longer drive, but in the end, it's really just it's challenging to really meet everybody's needs, right? And so we try and figure out some level of consistency, and the consistency has been just a set number of like work from home days, kind of like a PTO schedule that allows everybody that flexibility where they can do that on their own schedule and what works for them. But
Yeah, I feel you. I know for me personally, I'm like, I don't ever want the corporate vibe here with Summers Capital, everything we're doing. So I'm always like, hey, like I don't micromanage. I do have a very strong pulse of like every arm of the business, and I do a lot of one-on-ones. We have our team meeting every Monday, and I'm always looking at the numbers and that sort of thing. Very important. But as long as shit's getting done, I'm like, dude, freaking, you guys do what you want to do. We have like unlimited PTO, so I'm like, I've never not approved leave before, but like people don't abuse it when you're like cool like that. So I'm like anything but the corporate vibe. And you guys come in here, we got arcades and ping pong tables. Like I just don't want the corporate vibe. Actually like promoted someone last year to kind of be like the COO, and people would like report to her, and she was trying to make it corporate and all this stuff. And the team was coming up to me, they're like, hey, like we came here to work for you, not her. So I don't know. I think it's kind of ironic. Like when you're like a chill leader and like you're just super open-minded and just like you don't micromanage, I feel like people will actually work harder. That's actually what I found.
It goes back to even what I was saying before about the falling in love with the craft of what we do. Like it really truly is a little environment. And Jared was saying just
You
now,
guys have a freaking speakeasy.
we have a speakeasy in there,
Yeah,
right?
I gotta go check this out.
Yeah, you got to come up. But it's fun to be in the room. The crew of people that you get a chance to sit around and talk to and build product with. It's fun. We truly have fun. Like look, days get long. I'm not going to sugarcoat anything, but like we can look down all of a sudden it's 6:30. You're like, oh wow, like because we were in a room talking about a new parka we're building or a new pant that we're coming out with. Like we just get excited about it. Next thing you know, we're in it. So it's a little bit hard to work from home because of the in-house. You gotta touch and feel product. You know what I mean? You gotta be inside. But
well, and then the second Asia turns on, like 5 o'clock.
yeah,
China's open, and now we're switching gears, handling the suppliers. So,
but from like a in-office perspective, I'm like a big fan of being in the office. Like I feel like it's the collaboration, the ideas that happen here, the conversations are just so much better than being remote. So, I tell the team, I'm like, guys, like if you need to be remote, like do it, but be here when you can, because that's where all the good ideas, I think that's where the magic happens. Like I was remote Monday this week, and it's kind of weird being remote for me because I'm always in here. I'm always like, building it with the team. And so I was remote on Monday, and it was actually kind of cool. It was a nice little change of pace. So I think it's good every now and then, but man, I think the magic happens in person. You guys know this.
Yep.
Yeah.
Team wise, I've learned this, I've said this before, but Jared and I think we met 2011. We used to work Young Bucks back in the day. We were at Oakley at the time, and
you guys were both with Oakley before this.
Yeah,
okay.
Back in the day. So I think it truly was one of my favorite places to work, and it was the team of people that were there, right? Francisco Yanez, Rafel Pack, the team that really kind of we learned so much from this team back in the day, and just being with these guys. Hey, step into my office real quick, or hey, we got to get in this room. We got to talk about it, whatever it might be. As a young in your career, it was just fun to be around these leaders that were brilliant at what they did, right? And I still take this today. Like Rafel Pack is a name. He's been the CEO in a couple brands, but he taught me a few things, and Jared and I live by this every day. Like the 4 pillars that really make a good brand. And I don't want to sound commercial or like a commercial, but like what really truly makes a good brand to be successful is like an apparel brand. And this could work in multiple avenues, but like build great product, right? And this is what Rafe always talked about all the time. And I thank him for this, but build great product.
Mhm.
Product's number one. Like at the end of the day at Built, like we have to have these moments where we're looking and touching and seeing product. And if we neglect product at any point, this is not Built anymore. This is not good product.
When you say
You're out.
neglect products, what do you mean?
If you're
I
not,
think the marketing, I mean, go for it, but the marketing is a major aspect of the brand.
Mm.
But in the end, the retention of the customer stems from product quality,
yes,
right? And you need the product to speak for itself.
Yeah.
We talk about these campaigns and creative initiatives that we have in place to go through a product creation calendar and kind of go to market strategy. But in the end, the simplicity of the ad is usually what works, and that is product focus. And so it's, in the end, it's keeping it simple, making sure the product is something where the customer's feeling the value of what they're purchasing.
yeah, and that's even to your question there too. Like it's the details in product. Like finish the details. You know, I think that's what makes good product. You know, make sure there's a purpose for it and finish the product. So like build great product, you know, is foundation number one. Number two is tell a great story. Like he's saying right now is the marketing side of it. Tell a good story about your product, right? I think one of the things that we talk a lot about at Built is like, there's a lot of brands out there that want you to know who they are. And I think what we do really well is our marketing kind of lets you know that we know you and we're kind of fulfilling stuff for you, or we're here for you, right? So the messaging, it should be this two-way street at the same time, right? So build great product, tell a great story is foundation number two. Number three gets back to what we were just talking about now, is build a great team. Like, and it really truly is like professionals in this space that we live in right now up at Built. Like if you go in that building, everybody in their craft really loves what they're doing, and it shows, and it's contagious, and we have fun in rooms. And the last part of it too is well, actually, let me say on team for a second. Like one of the other unique parts about Built is if you get a chance to get in there, can't wait for you to come up and meet the team.
Yeah.
Everybody's so smart, and it's really fun to be around that smart atmosphere, right? Like,
Totally.
what's the saying out there? Like, don't ever be the smartest person in the room. I never feel like that at times. Like there are moments where I want to feel like, hey, let me show you what I do in product, and maybe that's my moment to be the smartest in the room. But I'll slip into a marketing meeting and all of a sudden be like, I'm learning from all of these people that are so great in what they do. Or I'll slip over to a customer service part of it, and like I'm learning what the customer's saying. We really truly listen to the customer as well, which goes to the fourth point of this, which is service the customer. Like take care of them. Like we need them more than they need us. You know what I mean? Like at the end of the day, let them know that we understand their lifestyle and their world. And I really truly believe with those 4 foundations, build great product, tell a great story, build a great team, and service the customer, we're doing a really good job of that right now. And I feel like if we keep this foot on the gas of those 4 things, like we're going to be a brand that's going to be really tough to slow down. I'm not saying we're going to be better than other brands. It's just, it's a moment that's happening with this brand right now. I mean, this is a podcast moment for us, which again, thank you for this moment.
Of course, man.
This is just the beginning of this brand.
Oh, I love when you say that. I say it all the time. I'm like, guys, this is just the fucking beginning.
Yeah.
Like, we are just getting warmed up, and I see that with you guys too, and that's the best part, man.
Yeah,
the potential for you guys.
Right. We'll nerd out every once in a while.
Yeah.
We'll text each other here and there, but we'll be like, you know, like we're just really starting this.
You're just getting warmed up.
And it feels like we've been around for a while, or, you know, we have a consumer base that really loves us, but like the excitement in the room right now is it's wow, look what we just said. Rob Gronkowski, Mike Tyson, how we build product and the details and the supply chains of stuff and how we're growing in different categories. Like buckle up moment for the brand. It's really fun. It's fun. And Built's going to be making some pretty good noise.
I can see it.
Yeah.
And I can hear it in your voice, man.
Yeah.
I'm curious. So what are those different departments within the arms of the business? So you mentioned marketing is one. You got customer service another. What are the rest of those arms within your business?
Yeah. I mean, team wise, you have, and Jared can always do a better job of this than I am, but we have their product team upstairs. We call the product team. The product team, you're going to consist of designers and developers and tech designers. The planners are upstairs with us. The merchandisers thinking about the line and the white space that's out there that we can take, opportunity and grow the business, and the storytelling of product is one thing, the product team. The other side is this marketing team, right? We have an absolute stellar leadership team of Maria and Kyle in the marketing side of things, that are from paid media to, the channels that we're going to advertise on, and the storytelling, right? We have a team that's going to get this product and be like, all right, we got to tell the consumer why this product is created. Why did we craft this product up, right? And that marketing side of it. And then the customer service team, we have Danny who runs our customer service team right now, that it's different than any brand that I've been in. Like, they are right there with us, listening, sitting through like line confirmation meetings and hearing storytelling. Because at the end of the day, that's a team that has to talk to the consumer. It feels like a mini sales team right now, which is, if a customer calls up, has a little bit of an issue, we want to fix that issue right now. And we learn from them. They come with data driven product or, consumer feedback on a return or whatever it might be. It makes us smarter every single day. Get humble in that space. Get humble in realizing that, there's always ways to make your product better. Listen to the consumer. There's not this know-it-all or this alpha mentality in the brand. It's really true. This like, hey, we've come with a lot of experience, but like, there's always room to improve, right? And I know I'm going off a little bit of a tangent, but like,
well, it's a humble confidence,
yeah,
right? Like
right.
that's even what we try and portray in our models, is like this approachable, humble confidence
Yeah.
that we need across the team. And I think
You always got to stay humble.
yeah,
you
that's
have to.
That's how you grow it.
Yep.
But like what Joe said is like, how can we get a little bit better?
Yeah.
Each week, how can we get a little bit better with every single arm of the business?
Absolutely.
always
well, and
being
it's
willing to-
knowing that you don't know everything, right? Like there's experts within each of the departments
Mhm.
in the business, and it's a matter of, I mean, we spend a lot of time just on the collaboration. We have a very collaborative environment, and I think anybody's willing to jump in and kind of support any other team, even though that's not anywhere on their job description. And it's really just that environment, which I think also drives the business and creates that internal excitement on kind of everything, the visibility that the brand currently has. And kind of an environment of, I've been talking about this a lot lately, of that mindset, of a piece of that mindset is not, it's like that procrastination is what creates stress, right? And rather than really asking, why am I doing this? It's like, why not? Like in this instance, right? And taking that mindset of, let's get it done. Let's not be held back by kind of that fear of the unknown. Take that on and kind of get excitement out of that. Right?
Yeah.
Like that unknown drives it.
And that was the Tyson moment, like to go back to that moment for us, which was, we had no idea what we were about to get ourselves into walking into a training facility in Las Vegas. Like no idea. And it led to what it is, but it really truly is that show up moment. We said it, I think it's a common theme of mindset and showing up kind of moment that we've kind of had throughout all this as well. But, to conclude your question, which was the team, and what these departments are, again, we have distribution right there with us, right? So Kevin, who runs our distribution program, like we're eating lunch together, we're talking about this. Hey, listen, when product's going to deliver, like it's just this, we're all thinking through it.
Dude, and you guys get these like shipments out quick. Like I'll order something like late at night, I'll order like a whole thing, and then literally like it shows up at my place like within like 36 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's there.
That's good to hear. We'll tell Kevin on that.
Yeah.
little BYLT story too. Like, we talk about this infancy and we talk about these moments of kind of getting this thing going. Like the last 2 Thanksgivings, like leading up to like the Black Friday moments, like there's been moments where we thought X amount of sales were coming in, and all of a sudden it was twice as much. And we were like, laptops closed, everybody outside, and we're packing orders right next to Eric Mirror, our CEO. And it's kind of that,
Who is still the fastest. Like
he packs up.
I mean, he's been doing it for
we
7 years.
We're trying to talk, but it's late night and we're getting these orders out, and it's because, and that's that full circle of making sure, we're servicing the customer at the end of the day. I mean, It's fun. It's a fun brand, and we try to make sure that this is it's not corporate. It's not a place that you feel like, oh, I just gotta go to my job. Like it goes back to even what I was saying before. Like it's a craft. Have fun with this. It's a really cool moment for the brand right now. Like when I walked in here and I saw your studio and the atmosphere in there, it's like, wow, like how many people would daydream to be in this situation? Like, look at you right now. This is a great like opportunity. It's here. It's yours. Go with it. Like it's scary. It's the unknown out there. So this is a fun. It's a fun journey that we're both on right now. This is
Yeah,
good.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So, speaking of the journey, what is the vision for you guys? Like, if you guys look out 2-3 years, I mean, you're opening up retail locations right now, even on the East Coast. What is that vision kind of long term look like for you guys?
Wow. This is kind of a topic that's really kind of hit us over the last like really 2 weeks. Like where this thing's going. Besides category growth, right? Like I said before, a little bit, like women's is going to be on the map
Dude,
very
the girls on my
quickly.
team love the women's line.
Let's
It's a
go.
great product.
Yeah, like the
Great
girls on my team
product.
order some of your stuff, and they all
Yep.
love it. Speak highly of it.
Yeah, our women's team right now back at headquarters is really truly they have their finger on the pulse of what can make a really unique line for a very hard area to be successful in, right? So this women's business is going to be really exciting to watch over the next year. Retail, obviously, but going back to kind of categories, we're launching our first suit this year, so we're getting more elegant as a brand, right? And when Jared laughed at me before about the vertical moments, like our verticals right now are like, and what I mean by vertical is kind of like if you go to our website, like shocked by activity, like what are you in a need for? Our flag right now, our flag in the ground right now is really kind of this modern professional where we've been for a while, which is this not this 9 to 5, it's kind of this 24/7 kind of modern professional. Work during the day, socialize. You never know when you might just have to show up at something. That modern professional space that we kind of call that everyday space. And how we're getting a little bit more formal. We're growing up into this category that we're now going to start calling this executive line, and you're going to start seeing a lot more like dressier, formal product come out of BYLT, and to be there for you in some of these moments, whether it's a big board meeting or a wedding moment or just a moment where you just really have to shine to really truly impress, right? Active is another thing, right? We're really starting to see the customer tell us so many times, like, we want more out of you guys in this active space, right? I hope I'm not giving too much away here from a
No, it's
brand,
perfect.
but
I like it though. Tell
It's
us all
good
the
to
secrets,
explain
man.
the brand. I mean,
Yeah,
I think
right?
this is one of the biggest questions. Sometimes they see the name and really attribute us to more athleisure when we really do kind of guide more towards the work leisure side of
Yeah,
and the modern professional. And that's where we see our customer kind of asking us to go a little bit further. Where button downs and polos and things along those lines have been very successful for us. And so we're following them down that path. But activewear has really taken off in the last year.
And the
And so
consumers is that's a category for us that, hey, do you got any more performance stuff? And it kind of worked into this for our benefit. I think it kind of really started in like the golf space for us, which was like a lot of guys were taking the Lux Polo out to play golf in Phoenix. And look, we're gonna be honest with our product. That might not be the best polo to wear in 100-degree weather because it's that cotton-based program. So we were like, man, we got to get active. We got to get a lot of this product breathing for people in certain parts of the country doing activities. And we entered the party, right? We entered the active space party. And what do I mean by entering that space? Like we talk about this all the time, like the stages that we want to see success in an area, right? And there's a few spaces out there that are really hard to tap into, right? Golf, active, yoga, whatever it might be, because there's such unique, specific players in that space, right? Do you realize how hard it would be to go up against, name the big brand, right? Under Armour or Lulu in a space of yoga? Like that would be a hard area to tap into. Like, what if all of a sudden you got an ad and it was like, BYLT is the best yoga brand in the world? You'd be like, whoa, something feels a little bit different right there. What's going on there, right? So what we really like to do, how we approach these things, and go back to that, that growth that we're talking about, is like, we like to, like, we laugh about it. It's like, you kind of like enter the party, like just observe the space, study the space, right? Like if let's just pick golf, for example. There's a lot of golfers out there that want us to grow this line. And we're like, okay, we're going to get there the right way, but we need to study this space and see where we really, truly fit in, because there's a lot of players in that space. Go into any one of these Roger Dunn's or PGA Superstore stores or a Dick's Sporting Good, and you're just like, it's just a sea of product. Don't just enter this category because you have a brand that people know and a logo that people trust. Like, study the category and see that how you can grow, get a little bit more comfortable there, and then just get a little bit more like ease into it.
I have a couple of your golf polos that I've worn out, and dude, it's awesome. And like the style, the swagginess, like, cause I see most golf polos out there, they're not swaggy, but you guys have all these different cool designs and like patterns, and I'm like, you just feel stylish when you're out there on the golf course rocking your guys'
Good
stuff.
to know. And that's how we approached golf. It was kind of that moment of us saying like, hey, let's go in and kind of like, let's just disrupt a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, we don't want to put too much into this to a big statement piece, you know,
Sure.
be a little,
But it's just enough different to where you're going to stand out.
right.
But
And
still have fun with the sport.
Yeah.
Right. Like, we don't want to take customers up to that point where
Totally.
it's that Nike kit, or they're putting on their $1,000 kit.
Yeah.
Right. So,
And we look, there's so much product, there's so much technology out there in fabric right now. We're going to be in that performance space no matter what. You're going to always get performance product out of built gear, right? But we realized with golf, like, it was kind of that one thing, like, when you step off the golf course and you go hit a pub after, you go to a restaurant after, like, maybe you don't really want to feel like and look like the golfer at the time, because they're out there. They have their brands for that. So let's give them a little bit something else. Like, let's give them a little bit more style. Let's give them a little bit more. We're going to give them the performance, but maybe give a little disruption to the style and be a little bit, maybe swaggier, a little bit street inspired at the same time in what we do there. So
but I think Joe also hit on something that I think correlates to your falling and some of our learnings through this process, and just my learnings in business in general, is that I think that through experience, you learn that it's really a step-by-step approach to be successful, right? And you kind of, stick your flag in the ground in one part and take a path to get to where you want to go, right? And to where, for apparel side of it, if all of a sudden we're like, hey, we're making snowboard gear, the customer's not going to trust us there, right? But if we slowly get them, maybe step by step, we get them, to the base of the mountain, right? And then just start supporting them maybe a little bit outdoors. And then naturally they're going to be like, okay, well, are you on the mountain yet? Right. And that, I think, goes across any industry of, you're in real estate, all of a sudden you open a cruise line, everybody's going to be, that's confusing, right? But if now you're creating a path to get there, the customer is going to kind of follow you there and understand and trust you and believe that they're kind of safe in your hands.
Yeah.
Right.
I love it.
yeah.
Well, boys, I appreciate you guys coming on the show and talking shop. I'm a big fan of everything you guys are doing, and just the energy and the vibe and the culture that you guys are building is second to none. So a lot of respect out there. And maybe next time we'll have to connect up in your guys' headquarters.
Yeah.
Love to see the speakeasy. And shoot, you guys mentioned you're building your own podcast out soon here.
Yeah, we're gonna start one probably around, I'd say maybe October 1st.
Okay.
Love to have you up there, show you the
Yeah.
speakeasy, get into the podcast. We're gonna use it in a really cool way, and there's a lot of unique people that come in and out of that building. That why not sit down and have a little chat with them and see where it goes?
I love it. And maybe we'll have to hit a Padres game here sometime
Yeah,
soon.
please,
man.
that would be great.
Yeah.
And congratulations on your success. This is fantastic, and thanks for supporting the brand. This
I
has been
appreciate
great.
you, man. Yeah,
Yeah.
It's been an easy transition. So appreciate you guys. Where can the folks learn more? They want to buy some clothing, apparel. Where are they going?
BuiltBasics.com.
Let's go.
There it
Yeah.
is. BuiltBasics.com. And appreciate you guys. He's Joe Trachta. He's Jared Koenig. I'm Rich Summers. Listeners, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.